Okay, guys, what's up? This is my second test run on trying to run a live stream through OBS. First time did not succeed at all, but hopefully this one is a little bit better. And I think I figured out how to get rid of the echo that you could hear on the other video I recorded. So we're going to start with some of the current news and what's going on in this crazy world.
The hundreds of thousands of COVID breakthrough cases that have America on edge have now burst into the halls of Congress. 3 vaccinated U.S. senators, Roger Wicker of Mississippi, John Hickenlooper of Colorado, and Angus King of Maine, revealing they've all tested positive. King noting in a statement, "While I'm not feeling great, I'm definitely feeling much better than I would have without the vaccine." Hospitals nationwide reeling from new COVID cases, with 9 out of 10 of those patients unvaccinated.
A young mommy, she left her.
Okay, so 3 senators, all vaccinated, all got the jab, and they all are sick. Nothing to worry about with that, obviously. Some of the top headlines. I reported previously about the FDA fixing to approve the vaccine next week, is what it's saying now. That's 43 minutes ago. And of course, the impossible lack of COVID safeguards overwhelms school nurses. Of course they do. They're pushing this stuff hard in schools, and they're pushing the approval through so that they can move this whole thing along as they've been doing. Now, I decided to try to make this stream today, and hopefully it's working. At work the other night, so we had a lady, an elderly lady who's 97. I guess she's been sick all day, vomiting pretty much. So the nurses saw her a couple times already, and I don't know what they told her specifically, but eventually she called for assistance again. She was tended to, and she had her older daughter with her, and they wanted an ambulance to be called and for her to go to the hospital because it's not gotten any better in several hours. The vomiting had been getting worse. So she wanted to make sure everything was okay and it wasn't anything more serious, which makes sense. So the ambulance was called. I met the ambulance, brought the EMTs up to the room, and one right off the bat, I could tell that she was just in a mood. She did not seem friendly. The other one seemed friendly, but the first one, she was not friendly at all. And I tried to make conversation about it being a full moon and how the night was going, and you haven't been busy, have you? And they said no, this is like their first call, so there's no real reason for that particular one to be upset. But then they proceeded to go up there, and I mean they did their checks, and they said they didn't think it was a heart attack or anything like that. Her blood sugar was a little high, but that's normal due to being a little dehydrated from throwing up. Now, the family was dead set on going to the hospital to begin with, but this EMT basically talked her out of going to the hospital. She's 97 years old. She said that she had Crohn's disease. And the EMT talked her out of going to the hospital. The EMT said that due to what's going around, that UNC Hospital was 99.9% full to capacity. And basically told her that if she went to the hospital, she'd be waiting around for possibly 8 hours before she's seen. And even if she was seen, they might not give her a bed. Now, this is a woman who has already been vaccinated. She's very elderly. Like I said, she's like 97, is what I heard. But the EMT talked these people out of going to the hospital. Just made it sound like there was just It's too full. Things are so bad that you're not even going to probably get seen. At the very least, you're going to have to wait in the waiting room for like 4 hours if you go. Just did whatever they can to keep people out of the hospitals, and I found that very strange. I mean, the lengths these people are going to, and then now all these people there, except for myself, are all very pro what's going on and pro the mainstream narrative. And they went on and on. The EMT specifically went on and on about how she's so sick of misinformation about things and how she just can't stand like one half of the county that we live in. She named one of the cities in the county and talked crap about all the people there. Um, Called all of them rednecks and said she was very proud of being from the north part of the county, which is close to Chapel Hill, which is a liberal nexus, and just couldn't wait for everything to be mandated again. She actually suggested that she doesn't know why they haven't done it yet, but they need to go ahead and put all the mandates and lockdowns back into place because this stuff is just out of control. And they just went on and on about it. And I just stood back and listened, didn't say anything. And at one point, she even mentioned that how she's sick of the misinformation about how, well, even the box says that the masks don't work. And that they bring up how the flu has just completely disappeared. And it doesn't even cross this person's mind that her common sense should be triggered by that, by the fact that the box says that it doesn't prevent spreads of anything. And then somehow the flu has just completely disappeared. And this person believes it's because of, the diapers people wear on their heads. So my question would have been, if I felt like conversing with this person, which I did not, would have been, so is the special new little tiny object, is it like super, super, super tiny? Is it like a tiny object that's so tiny it's tinier than all the other tiny objects? Because in her belief system, the diapers protect you from the normal tiny objects, but for some reason that she didn't bother to think about or elaborate on, they don't protect you from the other tiny object. Now, if that were true, then that would mean that this new tiny object must be a super, super, super tiny object. So tiny that, can anything stop it? Can anything block it? I don't know. But this is the length these people go to where they don't even use their own common sense. So, just out of curiosity, I decided to look up how many beds UNC Hospital usually has. The first time I looked it up, it said 800, but looked it up again and it says 905. I saw another number somewhere else that said 940, 50, 70, something like that. But so around 900 sounds like a good number. So that's how many beds are there. So just to put this in context, there may be 900 beds in UNC Chapel Hill. This woman claimed that it was 99.9% full to capacity, according to her, and talked this lady out of going there. 905. How many people live in Chapel Hill? 60,998 as of 2019. That's just in Chapel Hill. And of course, we weren't in Chapel Hill. We were probably 15, 20 at the most. Probably only 15 and 20 miles away from probably the actual hospital. So 60,000 in Chapel Hill alone, plus all the areas around it that hospital serves. So even if it was filled to 99.9%, 905 compared to 60,998 isn't a lot. So I have no way to confirm if what she said about the capacity is true or not, But if it is, it's not a lot of people. It's compared to the population, it's not a lot of people. I mean, 905 doesn't even cover the last number. The last almost 1,000 people of the population, 998 from 2019, it doesn't even cover that 998. It's only 905. So that'd be 1,000 in the hospital out of 61,000 if you averaged it up. So I just wanted to put that in context. I highly doubt it's filled to that capacity, but I have no way to confirm that one way or the other. And then I found this other interesting article about State Senator Jeff Jackson. It says hospital beds are typically 85% full across the state. So across the entire state, they're usually 85% full. Now they check it a little bit and they bring the number down a little bit, but that's still puts this all in context. So are the hospital beds actually typically 85% full? North Carolina State Senator Jeff Jackson urged the public to limit trips to the hospital, tweeting, North Carolina's hospital beds are typically 85% full across the state. Records show that North Carolina hospitals are on average throughout the year between 60 to 75% full. So maybe a 10 to 20% difference of what he's saying. So on average, 75, 85, maybe 60 at the low points percent full. So out of 905 beds, possibly, if they are usually between 60 and 85% full, another extra 10, 15% at the most is the only increase. So again, 1,000 out of 61,000 people, which is a very small percentage. And then out of that percentage, the influx, if there is one, is still only like at the most 15% of that. So I just wanted to put all that in context. And it goes on, and I think this is this has been March or something. I don't even know. I'm not even sure if it's this year or last year. But hospitals are starting to cancel elective surgeries, doing their best to empty hospital beds to prepare for a surge. So they're trying to keep people out, and that's what this EMT person kind of did. She just talked this lady out of not going. She just, did her thing and made it clear that it wasn't worth it. Now, are the hospitals actually 99.9% to capacity, or is that just what this woman said because maybe she has orders to try to keep people out as much as possible? Or is it because she's indoctrinated with what the mainstream media tells her? I don't know. But it gets better here. This quote here. They asked one of the, I guess the health. I'm guessing DHHS is the health department. I'm not even sure. Yeah, Department of Health and Human Services. They responded by email when they tried to fact check this guy. And they said on any given day, our hospitals by design operate at 90 to 100% capacity. So on any given day, our hospitals by design operate at 90 to 100% capacity. That's why we have sought waivers to allow critical access hospitals to operate above their licensed capacity. So, uh, that again, even more so puts it in perspective that on any given day, they could be at 90, 100%. So that's just your average normal hospital stay. Anyone who's ever gone to a hospital knows that they always wait in a waiting room for 2 or 3 hours. And then once they go back into the ER, they wait again for another 2 or 3 hours before a doctor ever sees them. And sometimes even longer than that. Maybe it's 2 or 3 hours and then a nurse comes and sees you, does some questions on you, and then they leave. And then it's another 2 or 3 hours before a doctor sees you. I mean, anyone who's ever gone to the hospital knows that's how it usually is anyway. So, I mean, this is saying they usually operate at 90 to 100%. But see, these people are talking elderly people out of not going. And hopefully nothing happens to that lady because she didn't go. But I wanted to look into that myself after hearing this crazy woman go on about this crap just to see what the actual numbers are, and how serious could it really be? And apparently, that's normal operation, 99% capacity, any given day, any hospital, on average 60 to 85% across the state, no matter where you are. But they are trying to scare people with new cases reported of this super, 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 super tiny bug that is tinier than all the other bugs, tinier than all of them. I mean, every day, people, every day it gets worse and worse, and they make up more crap to scare you and to keep their agendas going. And it is just nonstop. So I just wanted to make that quick attempted stream here. Hopefully it worked and went through. I don't know if it did or not, but hopefully it did. So if it did, thanks you guys for watching, and hopefully I can get this system down pat. Thanks for watching.